Welcome to Vibe Adventures Diaries, your ultimate travel podcast dedicated to uncovering new and off the beaten path destinations. Join us as we explore on the world with seasoned travelers, expert guides, and our very own team, along with other professionals from the travel industry. Each episode is packed with invaluable travel tips and hacks, inspiring stories, and deep dives into unique locals that will ignite your wanderlust. Whether you're an experienced globetrotter or planning your first adventure, Vibe Adventures Diaries provides the insights and inspiration you need to travel more and travel better. And tune in and discover new places and embark on your next adventure with us. Okay, so for our first episode here, we have our founder as a guest, our founder and CEO, Alex, who will talk about us a bit of what is a travel agency, how you can start a tour business, and he's gonna talk everything about Vibe Adventures. So, hello, Alex. Welcome to the first episode of our podcast.
Hi, everybody. So first of all, I would like to thank to our wonderful host, Sebastian. So I would like to introduce himself as well. He's working with us, and he's in charge of creative writing, social media, PR, and many other wonderful things. So now he's doing us a favor of hosting this talk with us. So I hope we're gonna enjoy, and you guys will enjoy also listening. Vibe Adventures, it started almost 6 years ago in Mexico City as a small group adventure tour operator with a goal to uncover hidden off the beaten track locations in Mexico City and Mexico and the region of Latin America, connecting international travelers, adventurous, curious travelers from around the world with local communities, and making tourism of more of a positive tool in terms of, let's say, leveraging the differences in terms of different regions, and being able to kind of like redirect travel flows to more undiscovered regions, and then thus benefit their socioeconomic developments as well.
Okay, so how did it become an OTA, and why did you choose the name Vibe Adventures?
The name came as a was like a coincidence. I was just the idea was I consider myself an adventurous traveler. Yeah, I visited over 50 countries so far, and as I remember myself, since being a child, I have always been quite an impatient one. And when I had a chance, when I finished my school, went to university, I had a lot of free time. Maybe not that much money, but a lot of free time, and I use it as much as I can to travel the way I could, hitchhiking, hostels, backpacking, couch surfing, camping, all this kind of adventurous stuff. So I like outdoors as well. I like meeting real people. So whenever it's about travel, and actually that's something I studied during my bachelor and master studies in Czech Republic. Basically a tour operator, travel management. So when I came to Mexico, there was like no and big kind of like doubt what kind of business to start. And in my perspective, adventure travel is probably, for me personally, is the most interesting part because it's connected with small groups. It's connected with more intimate exploration of the destination, where you can actually connect with your co-travelers, with the communities. You can do some really cool stuff. And also in terms of adventure, there are different types. There can be soft adventures, which are suitable for almost anyone. It's more about culture, some soft outdoor activities like biking, hiking, but of course it can be also extreme ones like mountaineering, going until top of the mountain. We normally focus on the softer part, which is more suitable for everyone. That's why it came Vibe Adventures. The domain was available. I think it's also very important when you start a new project. The name should be catchy, and the domain should be available. So that was kind of like a coincidence of different things, and also it kind of like corresponds with the one of the slogans of the company is like traveling with good vibes. good
Mhm.
vibes of adventure travel. So it all makes sense altogether.
Yeah, exactly right. So, in your perspective, how do you start a business? How do you became, or how do you become an entrepreneur?
Um, I think the first step is to get this feeling that you have a courage and you want to do it. Yeah, because I think everybody can become an entrepreneur. Everybody can do his or her own business. You know, even when we remember ourselves being kids, and sometimes we would trade, I don't know, one colorful stone for two stones of other color, or we were
Mhm.
collecting, I don't know, Pokemons or like whatever, or cards. It's also a business, you know, you're entrepreneur, but you're not aware of it when you're 7, 10 years old, or you collect paper and then you go to recycling store and they pay you something. It's also doing a business. So I think first of all is just like having courage for it. And because being an entrepreneur, it's also a responsibility. It's much more unpredictable, because very often when you start, there is a time when it might probably not give you any profits for quite a long period of time. So you need to have some resources for yourself. So a lot of entrepreneurs, they would start the business still doing their, I don't know, let's say a full-time job or a part-time job, or something like this, or maybe they have some savings, right? So I think that's kind of like the first thing, to have courage to do it, not to feel ashamed, to not to feel stressed by this uncertainty, because entrepreneurship is very uncertain. You will have like good times, bad times, ups and downs, and it's always like a lot of challenges. It's always being ready to go out of the box and to adapt to the world. So that's kind of like the first, to overcome the let's say the fear. The second one is to have some basic let's say um, sources to auto finance yourself while you start. And then the next one would be to have a passion. If you can ask yourself, like, hey, are you ready to work on this business for, let's say, 5, 10 years at least, working passionately, working with full your energy, full time, no, not part time. There are different types of people. I cannot like focus on two things at the same time, or three. There is
Yeah.
always one that will suffer from the other. I need to focus just on one. So that would be the last one. Yeah, like if you're really passionate about, because then, hey, with these three things, I think that's a basis. Then you will learn. And being an entrepreneur, it's learning every day. It's and everything else will come if these three things were there.
Okay. So, why did you want to start your business in Mexico City?
Um, it was more of a coincidence. The life brought me here almost 6 years ago, and obviously there was a question of what would I do for a living here, right? And in terms of like working opportunities, my Spanish was not that good at that moment. And also, I think that was already a moment when I was like kind of emotionally, psychologically ready to start, the business. And I also had some savings that could, help me to do it. When I started, I was combining it with some daily job. I was doing teaching, teaching languages here in Mexico City. So yeah, that would kind of like sustain me, let's say, uh, for the first 8 months. Yeah, like a little bit more than half a year. And
Mm-hmm.
then at some point when I realized, well, I just don't have time there is enough tours being booked, and there was like enough work with the agency. So I had to quit my day job because of that.
Okay.
And Mexico City is actually, it's also an amazing place. It's one
Yeah.
of the two. It's an amazing place to live. First of all, the quality of life over here, the climate, the variety of culture, let's say business opportunities as well, the flight connections. The city is beautiful. It's very multicultural. It's an amazing place to live. And also in terms of travel, it's together with Cancun, it's like the top travel destinations, yeah, in terms of, let's say, number of foreign visitors. If you look at the flight statistics, first is, if I'm not mistaken, Mexico City and then Cancun. So yeah, a lot of opportunities to organize interesting, unique and cool tours over here.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. It's both. We have a lot of tourist attractions and destinations, so you can also check them out on our page. So if you could change something about your strategy at the beginning, what would it be?
From the very beginning, the whole idea about and that's where the name, the brand comes from, Vibe Adventures. Adventures, it's normally it's associated with something longer trip, multi-day trip when you go to some destination or a couple of destinations, whether it's backpacking or part of the organized group or individual traveler, stay in hotels, whatever. So from the very idea, the idea was to organize multi-day trips. Yeah, because we had a plan. Me with some friends to do the trip from Mexico to all the way to Argentina in a car. It's kind of like overland, doing some volunteering. This kind of like adventurous hippie style, doing some online jobs and doing volunteering, organic farms, work away, this kind of stuff, a lot of camping. So we designed different trips, in Mexico, because the idea was not to make it a commercial project, actually, Vibe Adventures. It was initially the idea was to make it just like a road sharing project where we would
Mm.
kind of like have our blog. We will write about our travel, and we wanted just like to share place in the van that we would take with us. It's an old van that definitely consumes a lot of gas, but it has a lot of spaces. Like it was, I think, up to 8 people the van. So yeah, we wanted just to write our plan. Like, hey, this month we are in Belize, next month we are in Guatemala, and we have like the plan to go here, here, and there. Everybody who wants, come over, guys. I know this is the amount of contribution. Definitely, we just wanted to share the costs. So we designed the routes in Mexico and Central America, and at some point, things just changed. We couldn't do this trip anymore. It's still in my plan for one day in the future, but that's how the tour operator came in, and the idea was to organize just multi-day tours. So I didn't really know much about that. So we made social media, we made a website, and but we were not getting any bookings. And later I realized that when you start, and the multi-day tours are slightly more, I would say quite more expensive. We talk about, let's say, I don't know, $100 per day, 150. It's like, the trip for one person, it's over $1,000 if we talk about 8, 9 day tour or something.
Yeah.
So when it's a new company, I think it's kind of complicated to start without reviews. So later in February, we got our first traveler that was actually following us in Twitter, and she reached out to us and she booked some one-day trips with us. So that gave us an idea. Okay, if one-day trips actually work, let's list them. Let's create some one-day trips instead. Again, with different from what other companies do, a little bit more, let's say, more intimate, more with more touch, local community, some unique experiences, and so on. And we started listed it on our website, on TripAdvisor, on other platforms, and that's where the things changed. Yeah, so that's where we started getting bookings, we started getting reviews, and then eventually, in a couple of months, we started getting bookings for multi-day tours as well. Yeah, because when people come and they need to invest a considerable amount, they would definitely check the reviews, and having these initial reviews from one-day tours, which is also an important part of our current tour operator business, it helped us. So as a conclusion, if I knew about that, we would do it maybe from the very beginning. Yeah, we would introduce some one-day trips, so that
Okay.
would basically give us bookings at least 3-4 months before than it actually happened.
Okay, so let's talk about everything about Vibe Adventures. For example, what are the tours we offer? Do you have any anecdotes that you can share with us? Success stories, challenges you faced, plans. Also, can we talk about the staff that you have, and also like yeah, the guides we also have.
Yeah, in terms of tours, from the very beginning, as also the slogan says, traveling with good vibes. It's doing tours, experiences, but different than other company. Yeah, most of the travelers right now, they travel in big groups. It's kind of like a massive tourism with, I don't know, one guide for a big bus of 50 people. We wanted to make it differently where you cannot like connect with people. You don't have even like enough time to talk to the guide. And it's like, oh guys, you have 10 minutes for pictures. We meet you in the bus, we go, So it's very kind of like factory-like impersonal way of traveling. So we wanted to change it. So we set up several principles. First of all, we just do small groups. So it's like up to 10, 12 people going on a van. So there is still space, to communication, to make friends with your co-travelers, to meet locals and so on. The second, or doing it privately, yeah, for example. The second one was a principle on our tours was to, and actually is avoid, let's say, tourist traps. Yeah, some of the attractions, in travel industry, a lot of businesses is done as a partnership. Okay, you have some restaurant or you have some souvenir shop, and you want to do like contracts with local guides and tour operators to bring you in, and you pay commission on all this kind of stuff. So we wanted, and in our perspective, it's just like not really respecting the traveler, your client, treating him like more of a, let's say, a wallet than as a person. Yeah. So we definitely, avoided all this kind of street stuff and, travel traps that don't really like provide the same value. So instead we focus on kind of like local places. So for example, if we go to Teotihuacan and the pyramids close to Mexico City, instead of going to some big restaurant which brings, I don't know, a lot of tour buses and it's always crowded, we would go, instead we would agree with a local family that have maybe a garden where the travelers can come, they can create their own quesadillas, they can create their own tortillas, even they can try local food, and that's where the experience comes from. Yeah. The third principle again was to, as I mentioned, the avoid conflict of interest, no commissions, no this kind of stuff, because all around the world, but I think even more in Mexico, that's something that happens. So sometimes the traveler can go to the boat ride in Xochimilco, and then the vendor of supposedly silver, which not always is real silver, would come and say, hey, like, please help me sell to your customers, and then the price will be ridiculously high because it will involve the commission and so on. So that's something also we wanted to avoid. The fourth principle is treating your customer, the traveler, as your friend. So for example, whenever we had a guide, which most of them came always as a matter of like recommendation, where you start with one guide and then he or she would recommend the friend of the friend and so on. So it's always like the word of mouth. We would say like, hey, so how do you want me to do the tours? And we would always say like, okay, if you follow this advice, your tours will be perfect. Imagine you have a friend who comes to visit you, a foreign friend you haven't seen for a long time, and you want to, first time comes to Mexico City and you want to show him around. Please treat him the same as you will treat your friend. It means bring him to the best places, provide him with the best value. If you know that this place is more interesting than another, do it. Be flexible with the person. Okay, if you know that your friend is interested in specifically, and I don't know, in sports, bring them to a Estadio Azteca, spend more time there instead of like seeing the Euros, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, like treating people as a friend. And like maybe the last one, because we don't want to make it too long, the list is focusing on being a human as a guide, as a company, listening to our customers, offering them, changing the route, adapting the pace to their needs. If you want to make it slower, quicker. So that's kind of like the principles we set up in the very beginning as a foundation, because of course we cannot avoid some of the places that are very popular. Yeah, like for example, some places that are UNESCO listed. If, definitely it has they get tons of people, a lot of visitors. So it's going to be crowded, but that's something we cannot avoid. But that's where this twist comes from, the difference. Okay, how are we gonna treat the customer? Are we gonna bring him to a restaurant? Are we gonna bring them later to some souvenir shop where they will be ripped off and we will get commission, or we will actually bring it to the local artisan, in their workshop where they can get real prices, but at the same time they can also pay a fair price and support local people for what they do. So that's a difference.
Yeah, and can you tell us a bit more? I don't know, any anecdote you had with the staff or with some of your clients, like something you can share with us?
Um, there were definitely some, especially from the very beginning, when I also had to to lead some of the tours, multi-day and one-day tours. So I don't know. Sometimes I can get really boring and nothing comes to my mind. But a maybe one is let's say it's more of like a curiosity, like a curious fact, because um, all people, everybody can have different, kind of like expectations based on their background. Yeah, for example, in let's say when we talk about like tacos, yeah, the famous Mexican tacos, and you go and try them. So some
Mhm.
people, especially our American customers, they would expect, like say, American style tacos, and
Yeah,
with a lot of stuff inside, with a lot of some sauces and maybe some veggies, and it's like
yeah,
it's a visual delight. Visually it looks amazing and it tastes good. In my perspective, but whenever you come, and Mexican tacos are different. Yeah, they are a little bit easier. It's very minimalistic, 2 3 ingredients. This the famous, let's say, Mexico, let's call tricolor, no, the flag, which is
yeah,
blue, well, sorry, white, red, and chili, and there is kind of like a funny telling that, oh, it's like the basis of Mexican cuisine. And very often, if you get, for example, eggs,
yeah.
Mexican style in your hotel, it will be huevo a la mexicana, which will be with onion, tomato, and chile. No,
Hmm.
so Mexican tacos are completely different. So I remember, people being, oh, really, this is real tacos, and then no, it doesn't look that good as like American tacos, but in the end, like, wow, but that tastes so good. So sometimes that's the difference. Something that it could maybe does not look that visually, let's say, appealing, but inside the taste is really good, in terms of the meat, in terms of like all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And what can you tell us about the staff, the team that compromises all of Vibe Adventures?
I think our team is cool, and more like all of them. I think the basic as well. The principle is uh, the team is very diverse. I would say people of different genders. I think we are pretty well balanced in this 50-50, more or less. And because in travel industry at the moment there are more women, let's say, but we are pretty well balanced gender wise. And we're also balanced background wise. There are like people from different universities, of some public universities, some private university, more or less prestigious, but what actually, like, from different backgrounds. Some of them practice what they actually study. Some of them do completely different stuff. They found different passion on doing it, and they realized it in Vibe Adventures. Most of us are young and energetic and want to do stuff. So that's also something we do. We give opportunity to to younger people to get the experience, start working, and so on. So what unites also people come from different regions. There are some people who are from Mexico City, some people who come from other regions, some people who work distantly completely. And so what unites, and I think that's kind of like the principle for the whole team. It's the vibe, it's the energy, have a positive vibe. I think we have pretty good relationships in the team. We try to do as many, let's say, informal gatherings as possible, like some regular trips, because we're all about travel. So why not to go and discover at least the country around us. Mexico has so many things to offer, and from Mexico City there are so many trips you can do in less than 2 hours. UNESCO locations, mountains, waterfalls, thermal springs. So yeah, that's a little bit about our team. At the moment, we are 10 people just in the team, dedicated to digital marketing, copywriting, tour management, reservations, software development. So there is like all kind of things. We are growing organically, and of course, we also cooperate with a bunch of guides, not only in Mexico City, but also in other regions of Mexico and Central America that run tours designed by us and other local suppliers.
Yep, that's right. So, what plans can you tell us? Well, if you can tell us anything about for plans for the future.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah, as was mentioned, we have, let's say, two business lines at the moment. One is tour operator business line that we have uh, started from the very beginning. It's, let's say, our core business at the moment. And then we have an OTA, online travel agency business lines, where we basically market the tours run by our local partners in the regions where we are not physically present, in Mexico, but also in other countries of Latin America. Of course, these partners, they are vetted, highly reviewed, and they share our let's say principles, our main values in terms of providing high quality experiences, treating the customers, and so on. And right now we are working on another business slice. We're gonna launch it this summer. It's basically a dynamic packaging tool that will create in real time adventure holiday packages made of flights and multi-day adventures. Yeah, we will source it from our partners through API, and it will allow customers in one space, one website. Let's say put the place where you want to fly from. Let's say you fly from New York or London, and then the place where you want to go, you can put there Phuket in Thailand, or you can put there Kilimanjaro in Africa, and you can put there the number of people and the dates. So in real time, it will search for the tours that actually go to your destination, which is Kilimanjaro, Phuket. Then it will check for the tours that really happen in the time when you want to do it. For example, you want to travel in August, it will just show these departures. And lastly, it will combine it with the most convenient flights. Yeah. For you. So basically that would connect you from the place where you want to fly to the place where the tour starts, the adventure, the multi-day adventure, and where it finishes. Yeah. So basically it provides this value, not only making the booking holidays easier, but also making more cost-efficient decisions. Yeah, because sometimes there is a problem when you can find like a cool, well-priced tour, maybe with a nice discount, and then you cannot actually find flights. Yeah, so at some point you will be able to filter tours by price, but not only just tours, but like the whole package. So you will say, okay, this tour, it has like very good price and also the flights, and okay, I get it. Yeah, so that's another project we are currently working on, and yeah, that's also the direction where we wanna walk. in the short and midterm perspective.
So there you have it, folks. Wait till summer so we can unveil this new strategy that new we're this new thing that we're gonna be putting out. So be sure to check it out this summer. And well, before we finish, can you tell us what sets Vibe Adventures apart from other travel agencies?
Yeah, I would say it's something that we already mentioned. Is let's say the principle, yeah. And I think in the end, there will be always someone who can do things better than you. Yeah, can have it cheaper, can have it faster, can have it bigger, or whatever else. But what in the end, what actually matters, I think, is experience of people.
Mhm.
Yeah, like this human touch, the support before the booking, during the booking, after the booking. So this is something in my perspective that from the very beginning we put as a principle for our work. Yeah, like to value our customers, to treat them as a friend, to not bring them to tourist traps, not to avoid any conflict of interest and so on, like to bring them to more local, authentic places instead of like these mass tourist ones. So this is the attitude, yeah, like the way how we treat and the way how we want the customer feel. So yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, and also thank you for your time, all of you that are listening to our very first podcast. Be sure to check the next episodes out. So we say goodbye for today. So take care, Alex.
Take care, Seth. Thanks a lot for having me here. See you soon. And guys, thanks a lot for listening. We are going to come with more content in the next podcast. We will be inviting different guests from from our team, some from our guides, some of people from the industry, the travelers, the bloggers, and so on. So stay tuned. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.
Thank you. See you soon.